Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's first video, I'll take you to around the 8th of August. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles, running to around a couple of weeks, and of course having at CFSV2 for the next month as well. We'll begin by what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. I've got a disturbance area developing in the tropical Atlantic, so we'll talk about that to start off with. I think we'll update Storm Watch later on today. There could be some thunderstorms tomorrow and heavy outbreaks of rain too. So more about that in today's second video update coming up later on this afternoon. Right then, so we'll get on with it. I'm going to start off by having a look at the National Hurricane Centre Atlantic tropical cyclones and disturbances page. So obviously the area of interest at the moment is this yellow X just here. Let's see what they are saying about that at the National Hurricane Centre. So it's disturbance 1, and you've got a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. So they're saying as of 2 a.m. EDT, Monday, July 29, 2019, showers and thunderstorms extending from the eastern Caribbean Sea to just north of the Leeward Islands are associated with a tropical wave. This disturbance is expected to move west-northwestward to northwestward across the north-central Caribbean Sea during the next few days, producing locally heavy rainfall and possibly some flooding across portions of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Little development of the disturbance, however, is likely during this time as the upper level winds are forecast to become less conducive. The system is forecast to move near or over the Straits of Florida and the Bahamas by the end of the week, where environmental conditions could be a little bit more conducive for development. So, for the next 48 hours, it's only got a 10% chance of development, cyclone formation. In the next 5 days, has a 20% chance of cyclone formation, generally quite low. So, it looks like this is just going to be an area of thunderstorms that moves through the Caribbean over the next few days. Eventually, it's going to go northwards, and as it gets further northwards, it looks like then it might develop into some sort of system towards the end of the week. So it's a slow burner, but perhaps one to keep an eye on. We'll keep an eye on that through the week, see if there's any development. So these are the 500 millibar high tsunami flow charts from the Penn State University. We've got for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet, is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates to above average heights, which is high pressure. Blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. We can see that in the 7 to 10 day time frame, the ECMWF is placing blocking area of high pressure across Greenland and back into the North Pole, and at the same time it's pushing the jet stream southwards, the jet stream indicated by the black and red line just there, and with the jet stream moving south, so too are areas of low pressure. That is a very deep trough in across western parts of Russia, which will bring very cool air down to them. For us, we've got this southerly tracking jet stream, and it looks rather cool and rather unsettled. That, I'm afraid, as we're going into August, may be rather ominous signs for August. Certainly the first half of it. The GFS is very similar. Again, there's that blocking area of high pressure in the North Atlantic going back up to Greenland. We've got the below average heights then running through the Atlantic into the UK and into much of North and West Europe. Jet stream, that's being pushed southwards, of course. So we're bringing in these northwesterly winds as well, so there's a northerly influence being pushed down into this trough of low pressure. We're blocking up there, and the low pressure here, and the jet stream is going southwards as well. So it all looks rather cool and rather unsettled, I'm afraid, as we're going into early August. If you was hoping that early August was going to yield some hot and dry summer weather, it looks like it's going completely in the other direction. at the moment, and we might see actually a deterioration of the weather as we go into the first and on into the second week of August. Might turn increasingly unsettled and maybe even quite cool. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to Stroud today, so we're very close to average for the next week with the upper air temperatures. That's taking us through the final 2 or 3 days of July into the first days of August, quite close to average. So it's going to be pleasant when the sun's out. If there's any rain around, it probably will feel quite cool under the rain. But average temperatures this time of year with the upper air temperatures will be pleasantly warm. But look at this, we've definitely got a dip in the temperature taking place there later in the first week of August and through to the start of the second week of August, going cooler than average. And generally staying quite cool then into extended range. This is very extended range stuff, so it's unreliable. There is one very hot outlier just there, but overall this looks like a cool start, or first half maybe, to August overall, and unsettled. Loads of precipitation spikes coming through. This is wet weather, maybe thunderstorms that we've got coming up tomorrow just here. Maybe not quite as wet then into the second half of the week. There will still be showers around, but I suspect the emphasis Thursday, Friday, Saturday possibly goes towards dry conditions. Then after that, as we get this drop in the upper air temperatures, that's cooling down, it also goes very unsettled and we bring big rainfall spikes through. So overall, this looks like a cool and unsettled first half to August, I'm afraid. Temperature anomalies from the 29th of July to the 6th of August, very, very close to average. Not a particularly big deviation. I would expect these will hold close to average for a few days and then possibly go a bit below average in the end. Precipitation anomalies from the 29th of July to the 6th of August, a little bit wetter than average in most parts of the UK, especially England and Wales. Notice much drier than average to our north and also to the northwest. This is all indicative of high pressure sitting to the north, so this is indicative of high pressure around there, high pressure out there, and of course that's what's beginning to force the jet stream southwards. So drier to our north, but over the UK itself, particularly for England and Wales, looking a little bit wetter. So this is how the GFS is looking for Thursday, and low pressure is in control of the weather on Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, low pressure is in control. It gradually shifts away to the east by the time we get through to Friday. It's moving to our east. We're generating a little bit of a ridge from this big blocking area of high pressure that's over Greenland and Iceland. So a little bit of a ridge is developing there on Friday, but it looks quite weak, and even then I suspect there will still be showers. Nevertheless, into the weekend, Saturday, probably relatively dry with some sunny spells. There may be a trough moving through, particularly across England and Wales on Sunday, perhaps bringing morning way as showers. But then through to next week, look what starts to happen. It's what tends to happen when you have blocking in the summer, when you've got high pressure blocking things out up here. Generally, you will tend to start to push the jet stream southwards, because of the energy that's available within the atmosphere at this time of year with the Atlantic. You'll start to generate areas of low pressure along the jet stream. So next week starts to turn more and more unsettled as these areas of low pressure begin to push in from the west. And this year they don't look too vigorous, but that's definitely a band of rain that's moving across the country through the early to middle part of next week. But eventually things start to get whipped up, and by the time we get through to day 10, which is Thursday the 8th of August, we're actually bringing in a very deep, almost autumnal looking area of low pressure with a central pressure, I think, of around 985 millibars, and tightly packed isobars as well, so it's turning wet and windy as we get through to day 10. There's the jet stream. Look how far southwards the jet stream is going. Quite a vigorous jet stream as well for August, but it's pushing southwards really where these bright colours are, telling us that the jet is moving south and being forced south by that blocking high pressure. A little bit beyond day 10, we get through to Friday the 9th of August, looking wet and windy across most parts of the country. And then we keep this unsettled weather going into our extended range. Again, we've got the jet stream aligning itself sort of west to east, or maybe even a little bit northwest to southeast, and generally going a bit to the south of the UK as well. So we keep these areas of low pressure rolling in from off the Atlantic. That's how we finish up with this GFS run. Gets us to Wednesday the 14th of August. And still looking very unsettled, very inclement for the middle of August. So bouts of rain and pretty strong winds moving in as well. This might be over the top, but certainly the signals are looking rather ominous for the first half of August, and particularly that second week of August actually. This is how the GEM is looking. Again, that area of low pressure is over the top of the country on Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have plenty of unsettled weather below, gradually pushing away as we go through to the weekend. This little slight transient ridge developed close to the country. However, by Sunday, we've got low pressure threatening from the south. GFS doesn't show that as much, but there is low pressure to our south here. That might bring some heavy thundery rain to southern parts of the country later in the weekend. Next week, that low pressure gets out of the way. We've got this ridge to both the west and north. Winds are turning into the north, so that's bringing cool air down on those northerly winds, and probably still quite showery, particularly in the east. Moving up towards day 10, this is Wednesday the 7th of August, and a deep area of low pressure developing in the Atlantic, then heading in our direction. So by the time we get through to day 10, which is Thursday the 8th of August, here comes the low in from off the Atlantic. So we've got low pressure there, that's heading into the UK. More low pressure downstream, just there, that will be going in the same direction. And of course, we've still got this blocking area of high pressure up here that is pushing the jet stream southwards. So all in all, it is shaping up to be rather unsettled, you have to say. Getting more unsettled, actually, as we progress through the first week and towards the second week of August. This is the ECM. Again, there's that low on Thursday, still with us, but starting to move away to the east, taking the heaviest of the wet weather away with it. Into the end of the week and the weekend, again we get this slight little ridge building down from the blocking area of high pressure to our north. That probably settles things down a little bit at the end of the week and into the weekend. Temperatures at the end of the week aren't going to be too bad. We'll be talking about low to mid 20s, I would have thought, maybe maximum in London on Friday and Saturday afternoon of around 25 or 26 Celsius. So upper 70s Fahrenheit will be quite warm. But as things going to the rest of the weekend, well, here's that low again, threatening to the southwest. So we've got to watch where that's going. That might bring a soaking to southern parts of the country later in the weekend. That's what the ECM does with that low, actually. It brings it into the south, but GEM doesn't bring it as far north as that, I don't think. And the GFS doesn't really show this low a great deal at the moment. So bit of uncertainty about how unsettled the weekend gets. Whatever happens over the weekend into next week, that low transfers eastwards. We start to pull down winds from the north, and then we begin to generate the undercut underneath the block. So again, there's the blocking area of high pressure there, and we've got this low pressure underneath it starting to roll in from off the Atlantic. So by the time we get through to the end of the first week of August, we're turning increasingly unsettled if the models are right about this. This is the option map got on the table at day 10 within the ECM ensembles today from the Icelandic Met Office. This gets us to the 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th, 2019, and it looks very unsettled, blocking area of high pressure. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles are going for this, by the way, at day 10. So we've got blocking high pressure over Greenland, and then we've got low pressure coming in underneath it into Western Europe as well. Jet stream, jet stream is pushed southwards, so looking cool and unsettled at day 10. That's the option that we have in 2 weeks' time. This is the 13th of August. So again, 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensemble still have this blocking area of high pressure around Greenland. Low pressure is close to the country, just a little bit to the east. Looks like there might be some sort of tropical development there around Newfoundland. That might be the remnants of some sort of tropical storm or hurricane that the ECM is forecasting to move up the eastern seaboard, perhaps by this point. But for us anyway, the upshot looks like it's generally going to be quite cool and quite unsettled going up to the middle part of August. These are the 500 millibar high dynamic road charts from the CFS V2. These are broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 29th of July to the 4th of August. There's the blocking area of high pressure to our north, big blocking feature to the north. Low pressure is to the south. So, I mean, we are extending this reach down into UK to some degree. So, we're not going to be desperately unsettled in the week ahead. And there will be some warm weather towards the weekend down in the south, but overall it does look rather changeable. And then we go through to week 2, and it looks like we have a big deterioration of the pattern there. This is the 5th to the 11th of August, still with the block up towards Greenland, but the low pressure is deepening from the Atlantic and coming into much of northern Europe as well. Jet stream is coming in with it, so increasingly unsettled as we go in towards the second week of August. Bouts of rain heading in off the Atlantic. Week 3 doesn't look much better either. This is the 12th to the 18th of August. A trough of low pressure centred over the top of the UK. Above average heights pushed down to our south. We'll be bringing pretty cool air in around that low pressure as well. So proper rains here for August. Bouts of wet weather and cool temperatures too. That's how we finish up in week 4. It's the 19th to 25th of August. Trough of low pressure extending through the north and west of Europe. Area of high pressure still somewhere around the south of Greenland, Iceland, that sort of area. So still, even then, hints of blocking. High pressure across the east and the southeast of Europe. That, of course, will bring heat, hot air out of North Africa into the east and the southeast of Europe. But for us, it's the reverse. We're actually bringing in the air from the north and from the northwest, so relatively cool and still quite unsettled even into week 4, the 4th week of our forecast period, which is the 19th to 25th of August. These are very, very ominous signs for August that we're seeing at the moment. The temperature anomaly for week 1, 29th of July to 4th of August, still a bit above average, so it's going to be relatively warm-ish in the week ahead. Nowhere near as hot as we've had, but still a bit above average. There will be some warm days on offer. And even into week 2, the temperature looks like it's holding up reasonably well. This is the 5th to the 11th of August. This is a very unsettled week in terms of the 500 millibar height only, but the model is still forecasting rather above average temperatures. I'd be a bit surprised about that. I would suspect that second week, given how unsettled it is on the 500 millibar height anomaly, it's that. Given that anomaly, I reckon that would be quite a cool week actually. In reality, we go through to week 3 and then we go cooler than average, particularly so for England and Wales. And then week 4 is also cooler than average. So eventually we do start to turn very cool with the CFS, but it takes a little while. I would suspect it will be quicker. It will be quicker than that to get those temperature anomalies to go average. I'll be anticipating below average temperature anomalies as early as week 2, as early as that, which is the 5th to the 11th of August. Precipitation anomalies for week 1. 29th of July to 4th of August, close to average, so not desperately unsettled for the first week, but then look what happens as you get through to week 2. It's the 5th to the 11th of August, and it's substantially above average with rainfall by this point. Quite a wet week, and that goes on into week 3, which is the 12th to the 18th of August. That also significantly wetter than average. And even week 4, when normally the signal's becoming quite weak by this point, and you tend to lose the signal by week 4, this is the 19th to 25th of August, it still really hints at being another wetter than average week. So these are ominous signs, as I say, for August. This is how the 700 millibar height anomaly is looking at the moment with the CFS V2 for August, and it looks pretty bad. We've got a trough of below average heights being centred over and just a little bit to our east. That will bring the wind in from the northwest, or maybe from the northeast. So it will be cool and it will be unsettled, I should say, with that setup. Temperature anomalies are forecast to be very close to average, not just for us in the UK, but for much of northern Europe. It does look a little bit cooler than average across southern parts of Europe. Precipitation anomalies for August at the moment, with CFS being forecast to be wetter than average for not just UK, but for most of northern and central western Europe as well. This looks like a very unsettled and potentially cool August. So ominous signs for August. Now, it could be that all of this is wrong, and it's just going over the top with the fact that we have broken the heat wave that we had last week. We broke that pattern, and the models might be going over the top with this change to cooler, unsettled conditions. But it is being very, very well modelled. We have cross-model agreement, both the short range and the long range. They're all going in the same direction, which is that the further on we go through the first half of August, the worse it gets. So actually, the opening 3 or 4 days of August, not too bad, probably still a bit showery, but relatively warm maybe. But the further on we go through that first week of August into second week of August, it gets worse and worse, really. And that is being well modelled by most of these models. So you have to say that at the moment, these are ominous signs for the first half of August anyway. Second half of August, we wait and see. But certainly the first half of August, it looks like we have got some pretty bad signs here from both the longer and shorter range models with cross-model agreement. That's the most worrying aspect, I suppose, because if it's just 1 or 2 models that were doing this, and we had other models that looked a lot better, then you would have that. You would have that to hang on to. But the fact that all the models are going in this direction, both the short range and the long range, does look a bit concerning. But we should wait and see. They might be going over the top, as I say, with the end of the heat wave. And we'll just see how things develop through the week. It will be the focus of the videos, obviously, in the week ahead. Wouldn't be the first time, of course, that we've had a poor August. Since 2003, August has been a rather dubious summer month, you have to say. We have tended to have warmer weather in the early and middle part of summer. June and July have tended to be hotter, drier months, and it always seems to be August that lets the summer down. We did think in the summer forecast this year might be different. Could be that we thought it could be August might be the best month of the summer, but at the moment it looks like we are still in that long-term sort of trend that we've had very often since August 2003, which was a really hot and dry summer month. Since then, the long-term trend for August has been generally quite cool, quite unsettled, quite disappointing, and it looks like another one of those could be about to descend on us. But we shall see. It'll be the focus of the videos in the next few days as we try to ascertain what is going to happen through the first half of August. But at the moment, ominous signs. Right, we'll be back with Stormwatch later on, because I think there's going to be a chance of further storms tomorrow, so we'll look at that in today's second video update. So come back for that then, but that's all for now, and thanks for watching.